do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, our Monday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. It is muskox season, and if you want to look your best, feel your best, look better than you ever have, if you got 6 chins and you want to have one, a Muskox flannel will do that for you. If your wife stopped looking at you, a Muskox flannel will change that for you. Go to gomuskox.com, and you can use the promo code PEACOCK. Peacock. That's P-E-A. If you don't know about Peacock, I don't know what to do for you. It's Peacock for $15 off your flannel purchase at gomuskox.com. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Why don't you write something, huh? Why don't you write something?
That's the taint.
I do hear your voice in my head when I take a shit.
Peacock.
Hey, man. What's going on?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm all right.
You don't sound great.
Yeah. I'm a Tigers fan. What am I supposed to do? Had a terrible gambling weekend. I mean, got my butthole kicked in. It was unbelievable. I think I owe an apology, as you do as well, to Kurt Signetti. I apologize for that. And then the Rams plus 3.5 yesterday. My God. Block field goal. I'm like, I'm dancing. They're either going to win this. The Rams are going to win this game or lose by one.
I've talked about this before, how they're like theme weekends in the NFL, and if you can get out and stay away, you need to do it.
Bill Simmons says that, the wonky week and shit like that.
But it is. Look at all the same type of special teams play at the end. You get these games where you can just tell the favorites aren't going to do it. They're not showing up.
And yesterday in the NFL, these fuckos that were scoring, these like third stringers that were scoring, it was either tight ends, guys you really never heard of, or defense scoring.
So I don't know Kurt Signetti an apology, by the way.
You do, too.
How do I owe him an apology?
I don't know. You've been on his case.
I still am.
I did not believe in the Indiana Hoosiers.
Have some integrity in scheduling. I don't care how good you are.
I know.
Don't dodge people.
I get that. You can have that argument against him, but man, oh man, Brett Bielema. So what are we doing, Illinois?
When they get to the when their playoff resume is looked at, Indiana, if I were in that room, they would have one loss already. And it's your choice, because you didn't play.
What an apology this is.
You didn't play at Oklahoma, right? You didn't choose to play a Power 4 team, even Boston College at home. So it's fine. You don't have to play that team, but we have to assume you lost that game. If you want to play 3 non-competitive teams, most of which aren't at your level at all, even with scholarships and finances and resources, that's fine. But if you're not going to get to that extra game, that 10th game against a Power 4, that's fine. We just assume a defeat. You can still make the playoff, but you have one defeat, or you at least don't have that extra win. And it's intent and scheduling. The man deserves the shame for that. He's got a great team. And the shame of it is his team is too good. It deserves better. He deserves better. He's a great coach. And yet he's got the Mike Krzyzewski true road game scheduling philosophy. So,
man, I wish I would have crushed. I did crush some Fernando Mendoza tape after the show on Wednesday when we gave out our picks, because I'm like, why is this line? Because the line jumped up to Illinois plus 6.5. I'm like, what is happening with this line here? And then Nebraska, they're fucking what we thought they were. Matt Rule, F you. Just a terrible the Tiger. I don't even want to get into the Tiger. Do we have to talk about the Tigers?
We have a few listener takes on the Tigers.
I'm going to let them do it. I don't even have any takes, because all my teams just want me to be patient, and you can't say anything after a loss. So I'm just, you do your Michigan State thing, because I know you're going to tell us to be patient, and we have to. Jonathan Smith's a good guy, and we all have to just wait around and shucks and look at that fucking ocean. I just don't know. My Mondays suck right now. This is ass. The Tigers suck. We're going to miss the playoffs. Historic collapse. The Lions are tonight, though. That's an upside. I'm taking that 5.5. 4, was it 4.5?
You got into 30.
Let's fucking go, Lions. Save my life, dude. F these other teams. I'm so sick of, and God bless Izzo, but then you wanted to get a guy out of the portal. Heaven forbid you fucking say that. You ask that. Oh, you need to be patient. Let Izzo do it. The game is not passing by. Like every team I root for, I get scolded and told to be fucking patient and calm down, and Scott Harris and his bullshit, Charlie Morton horse ass crap. Get him out of here too. I just can't deal with this Tigers, this absolute blow up by them. I'm just saying, I root for every team, everywhere I look. I'm just told to be patient and shut up, old man. I've had enough. Then fine, I'm done. I'm dead inside again, except for tonight, Monday night. Monday Night Football, the Lions.
I hope most people got on the Guardians 33-1 or somewhere
shut
around
your
there.
ass. Oh,
so you at least pay
blow
part
it
of
out
your
your
mortgage.
asshole. I hope you go on a gambling bender and then you lose your whole fortune. You lose your house and everything. I hope you win that bet and then take that and then it just leads to the 1-800-GAMBLER commercial where you just fucking lose everything.
By the way, Izzo, not a Couch in the Roof fan.
No.
Just disrespectful today. Like, this is a Monday show. Izzo's got a 2:30 p.m. first practice press conference. Like, I mean, come on, man. This, you know when we do the show. Come on. That's not good.
I got half excited for a second because I thought he was actually bringing up the show. That bullshit podcast Couch does. Like, I would take that today over this other crap. So do your spiel. Let's get to the people. So I know you're gonna have to get out of here. So we might as well just get to these takes. Do your take. I'm dead inside. I'm sick of everybody.
All right. I'll give you my MSU
Caw,
spiel.
fucking caw.
I wrote a column a little bit on this yesterday. People are struggling to connect with Jonathan Smith, right? They're struggling to connect with the program a little bit. And despite what was, I think, some really good moments, even thrilling moments of offense by Michigan State at USC, there is not this sense that this thing is ultimately going to work. And for that to change, Jonathan Smith can't change who he is, and that's going to bug some people. Some people want the emotion on the sidelines. They want a different him, and that's just not who he is. But what has to happen for this program is it has to be a team that's recognizable to MSU fans for what Spartan football is to them. And the best era of Spartan football, and really eras, but the best era, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even still 7-8 years ago.
Mel Tucker.
Before Mel Tucker.
We don't have enough time for all of that.
I would take the Mel Tucker era.
No, you wouldn't.
I don't know.
Because the defense statistically was worse every single year by quite a bit.
Yeah.
So the defense, as bad as it is right now.
This bad?
It was this bad. Statistically, it was this bad. And in 2021, there was a year where you had the ultimate opportunistic defense that gave up like 442 yards a game, but somehow only 25 points. That's an anomaly. That's not really real. That's not sustainable. What happened in the Mel Tucker era has led to this. This isn't entirely the fault of Jonathan Smith or Joe Rossi, but it is their problem. And until they fix it, people aren't going to believe because people cannot watch that defense. And I know USC is good, but we all know that Michigan State in its years of better defense would have been fine against that team. People cannot watch that defense and connect to the program they used to know and love. And so they've got to find a way, and you do what you can this year. You've got to make it better, as best as you can. You've got to have people feel like there's improvement on that front. And then it's got to be the emphasis in the offseason. Because, they looked at the offseason and they said, well, you need help for Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh. You need more playmakers. And they did get some guys on the line, and they brought in Omari Kelly. That's a great get. Omari Kelly's an incredible transfer portal get. You got to do that. If you don't have it internally on the defensive front and on the edge or on some sort of rush linebacker, that has to be a financial priority because your priorities are in plain sight on Saturdays. You can see it all. And so I think that is the area, people were frustrated with D'Antonio at times because his offenses weren't always great. And people would rather have this offense than many of the D'Antonio offenses. But at least in those years when people were frustrated by D'Antonio and wanted Dave Warner gone, and people always want a coach gone. Don't get me wrong. People wanted Pat Narduzzi gone. I'm not saying that's Joe Rossi, right?
Pack it up. Let's go.
Guy coached 2 top 10 defenses 2 of the 3 years before he came to Michigan State.
So then what happened?
He doesn't have the players.
Oh.
So go get the players. That's my point.
On the bushes?
Go get the players. Right. In this day and age, you have to go get the players.
Who is it on? Can we blame anyone?
Well, that's the thing. Everyone needs blame.
Yeah.
And I do think, to some degree, there's blame that goes all the way back to D'Antonio. There's blame that goes back to letting the roster fall apart when you had defenses that were pretty good at the end. There's a lot of blame on the Mel Tucker era, and then the way that ended and guys leaving and losing guys because there were some good guys. And then there's blame on Jonathan Smith and Joe Rossi and even if perhaps even more than that on the financial situation. There might be blame on Matt Ishbia or whoever funds everything. There might be blame on Bradley Beal for being the apple of Matt Ishbia's eye and him taking.
Let's blame Couch.
Yeah, who knows?
Blame you.
Knows? But you didn't go out and get enough for the defense to give this offense a chance to have themselves a real year, right? This offense and not everybody will be USC. Indiana might be USC, and there might be a couple other tough days ahead. But Nebraska should be a game where if this offense plays like it did against USC, that should be a real game to the end. And so maybe they'll still be a team that can get to 7 wins. Maybe they'll be fine against Maryland, although Maryland looked a lot better. Maybe they'll be fine at Minnesota. So maybe this team will be okay. But the defense, if it was just average with this offense, I think would be it would be a team that you'd be intrigued by a lot of weeks, and you'd wonder, is there a chance they could play up? Is there a chance they could play in the really meaningful games in November? And they didn't. They didn't get enough on that defense. And I don't know entirely if they thought certain guys would develop, if they thought they'd be okay, if the resources just weren't there. And these are questions they have to be asked and they need to figure out. And then internally, they were not helped Saturday, obviously, by losing 4 key guys in the first half. They don't have the depth to withstand that. A lot of defenses don't, and that did make some difference. But when you give up, 9 of 13 third and fourth down conversions and over 355 yards in the first half, 355 yards in the first half, the team doesn't punt. It is. They had a few timely moments, and they have some good players here and there. It's not a defense completely devoid of talent, but it's not a defense that's recognizable.
And Hall gets kicked out for bullshit penalties. So
when you have a defense that's not recognizable to people for what they think their brand of Spartan football, for what they feel comfortable with. In those days of D'Antonio when it was frustrating because they couldn't move the ball offensively, MSU football still looked recognizable. They still felt close enough. It was like if they could just add this sort of piece offensively. Well, now that's flipped, and it's better off the other way because defense, being aggressive, being physical, people knew that MSU in 2018 with 0 offense could walk into anywhere and be competitive and not get run off the field and look like they belonged. And this defense just, a lot of sieve-like qualities. It just went. It was not great. So that needs to be fixed, and that needs to become the priority.
Do they look competent? I understand you need players, but does the defense look competent with the players they have?
Let me give you an example. I'll give you an example of what happens. Jordan Hall gets sent off the field, right? For a targeting call that, the whole targeting thing needs to change to the point that they need to be able to try to legislate some intent in there too, in terms of the difference between a 15-yard penalty and kicking somebody out of the game. Because that's
been going on for years. We want that changed.
Correct, because we're not going to legislate intent. The tush push, every quarterback sneak, every running back when they lean forward, they're kicked out. They're all targeting. They may be an offensive player, but they're leaning forward, they're head first, kick them the fuck out. The guy who's falling helmet first and happens to hit a defender, kick him out, right? Like if we're going to just do it by the letter of the law, then kick them all out. If you can't legislate intent, you got to kick them all out. There'll be 6 guys left on the field at the end of the game. That's a different element. But what happened with Jordan Hall, he gets kicked out in the next play with a different linebacker running the show with the green dot on his helmet. They give up a long touchdown, right? So and I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened with him but there may have been a correlation there. It does matter who's in the game. When you lose 2 guys who bang helmets on the same play, probably the concussion protocol, we don't have the exact thing, but you can assume that. That's a bad deal. 2 key players, including a starting safety. So I'm not saying that they weren't hindered by that. But that's not, some of those guys were in the game when they gave up the bulk of those 355 yards in the first half. They've got to really work to find that and fix that. And they've got a bye week to sort of see if they can be a little different, if they can find some wrinkles. They played their best game of the season last year coming out of the bye against Iowa. Now, that didn't last. The season spiraled from there. But, maybe that's something they can do again. But the defense has to be more recognizable for people to embrace this regime and believe in this regime. People may not ever love Jonathan Smith in terms of not being this emotional, grumpy figurehead. He's not going to be Saban or D'Antonio. And maybe if that's important to you.
Is he happy? Like if he's not, what?
Why would he?
I don't know. Have any emotion at all, though? I don't know. Some sort of emotion, I guess. You don't have to be someone you're not, but it just seems like, with one of your players gets kicked out under circumstances to maybe throw a hat or, F you guys, throw a headset down or something.
Adding to the blame for what we're talking about, Jonathan Smith's parents. Because they didn't raise him with emotion. I don't know. If you have a kid, who wants to be a football coach, make them an emotional basket case, or they will not be a fit at Michigan State.
Well, usually I figure that it all comes together when you're trying to be a coach. All the years of grinding tape and talking to parents and players, you would get some certain edge to you by the time you reach to this this level, but I get, hey.
I mean, he's somebody who believes, and I've talked to him about this, that if you react overly emotionally or and I think part of it's just who he is, and he's talked about this too, that's not who he is, but also that keeping a calm demeanor on the sideline keeps people calm around him, and he believes that's the right way to go. I think right now, when they're struggling, it's hard for people to connect. It's not quite the same as the Jim Caldwell, Jim Harbaugh resting confused face. But which is awful. People hate that. But it is sort of a demeanor when they cut to it and things are going wrong. People want you to meet them where they are, and his personality doesn't do that. The way around that, the way to overcome that is to have a team that embodies what the fan base wants. And the defense has to become a priority there. It really does. And it just can't look like this another season. You ready to dig into these listener takes?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah. Eric Schultz up first. Number one, this is the defensive equivalent to the 2018 offense. It's that bad. If they were simply last year's D, they'd be well on their way to 6 or 7 wins. Instead, they'll be lucky to get to 5. And 2, quarterback, tight end, and wideout are the only positions that are undeniably better than this year, that are better this year versus last year. Every defensive position group is noticeably worse. Are these someone else's down here? Or are these still Eric?
Oh shit, that's me. Don't read those. Sorry,
right.
You'll go to Dominic. Yeah, that was somebody.
Okay,
those notes I got out of place. I hadn't thought of the 2018 comparison.
Nobody has.
But when they obviously defensively were unbelievable, they were like in 7-7 and 7-6 games late in the third quarter with a 0 offense. And the idea this is flipped. I looked at this team at one point, sort of like the earliest. I would go back to like 1995, Tony Banks, Muhsin Muhammad, Derek Mason, like Saban's first team where they had pros on offense, a few guys on defense, but that was kind of a 7-win team. They were, but not a consistent offensive line either. I mean, there was, from a talent standpoint, this team reminds me somewhat of that group. But the defense right now is really bad. Now, again, USC may be at a level that most teams aren't, but you got to, it's got to be different than that. And at some point, you have to be able to get to the quarterback. You have to have one tackle for loss in a game, even if the quarterback's mobile. It's just that didn't happen, and it's an issue.
Dominic next. Number one, Jonathan Smith just isn't it. Not in this era. We can sit here and say we don't know, but we fucking know, man. He doesn't feature their best player properly. He's hideous with timeouts and game management. His recruiting is ass. Sure, let's just buckle up and watch, though. No, enough. 2, it's tiring watching this shit year after year, lying to ourselves. This shouldn't be what it fucking is. We're probably going to lose Marsh in the portal. Why would he stick around to be neglected by an autistic staff? They may be nice guys, but these are dumb football minds. And 3, Tigers have sucked more down the stretch than my whoring ex at an underground rave. Honestly, shocked they're still going to blow this. And bonus, Joe Rossi is the worst thing to come out of Italy since Mussolini. Can someone get that to Joe Rossi, that someone feels that way? Holy effing shit, this guy is a goddamn derelict. I know, Graham, you saw him in a bathroom at Spartan Stadium, and you looked into his kind eyes and felt empathy. Can anybody fucking coach?
So Joe Rossi did. I mean, you can look up the numbers. In 2022 and 23, sorry, 21 and 22, 2 straight years, top 10 defenses at Minnesota. And nationally, I mean, they were really, really good. And those were his defenses. And it's not like Minnesota was recruiting okay, but it's not like Minnesota has out-of-this-world guys. There is a pedigree to Joe Rossi. He was hired for a reason. He is, and so when it's not working, and I'm not saying he's doing a great job here, but when it's not working and it has worked for somebody in a very recent history at a program that has no more advantages than Michigan State, then you got to think it has something to do with the talent. Now, in this day and age, again, the coaches have more ability to correct the talent year to year than they used to. If this was 10 years ago, he'd be able to say, look, we got some young guys we really like. They're just not there yet, and this takes a minute to develop, and you can't, you just can't fix it overnight. But you can fix it overnight if you have the resource. And if you don't have the resources, they're going to have to be blunt about that. Or if they were limited to the point that, they had to put them where they did and they couldn't use them everywhere. And I get that defensive linemen and defensive edge rushers are like the most expensive guys in the portal. Like they're the hardest to find. They're the most competitive. It is not easy. It is better to develop them. It is better to develop and retain, and maybe some of that's going on. I know there are a couple of young guys they like, but you got to be different than this. And we keep seeing guys who are on mid-major programs like Western Michigan or we see occasional difference makers at places that don't have more resources than MSU. Those are the guys you got to make sure you get. It's understandable if somebody wants to pay Derek Harmon $4 million and you go, that's not in our budget. We don't have Phil Knight's money. Matt Ishbia is up here, hanging out with Bradley Beal. That's where his cash went. Whatever. I get that. But there are guys at other levels that they've got to go, they've got to get, and they've got to it can't look like this. It doesn't have to immediately be 2013 MSU. It doesn't have to even, it doesn't have to be 2018 MSU. But you kind of need 2019 MSU pretty quick. You need to be a top 50 defense. And if they were a top 50 defense this year, I think people would be okay with it.
Maybe. Number one, football in bed ain't bad. The whole day was free to do whatever. And two, WTF Atlanta, gambling related.
Falcons, no show. It's that kind of day in the NFL.
Oh, my God.
Brutal. It was brutal. By the way, you want to watch football in bed or whatever you want to do this weekend. This weekend, the bye week for Michigan State, an incredible slate of college football, great Premier League slate. The Tigers may or may still be in it. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, the Xfinity Multi-View is here for you. Look, if you're looking for the best way to bundle like home internet, mobile, and get a great cable experience that, look, it's going to be a better overall deal than having 65 different streaming services you have. And you may still have some of them. Look, I have everything. But I also have cable. I also have Xfinity, and I'm starting to really enjoy the multi-view. Go to Xfinity.com, type in your home address, check out the best deals for you, get a number of games. If you're like me and you don't have the best TV setup, Xfinity can help that with the multi-view setup. They also have great deals on home internet and mobile where they have the same coverage area as Verizon for less. Again, Xfinity.com.
Spartan Johnny next. Paying Jonathan Smith $32 million for defensive line and linebackers is greater than paying $32 million for a buyout. He can win with talent. Give him the horses.
I mean, this is my take, and it has been my take, and I still think Jonathan Smith's a good coach. I think he's got a good staff, and I think I get why people are frustrated though. I understand you know, and that's part of understanding what Michigan State football is and the priority and I think they're going to have to. It's hard because they don't want to put down their players, but you have to also be, I think, a little more blunt and forthcoming and explain why things look the way they do, and maybe they won't the next two games. I mean, certainly against UCLA it shouldn't. Maybe they'll go to Nebraska and things will look a lot better, and maybe USC is just that good. Maybe they're just a couple games. We'll get to Indiana on some of these takes in a minute, and maybe it's just going to be USC and Indiana and maybe Penn State and everybody else they're going to be fine against. And the takes and the attitude towards it will change.
But did the coaching staff know it was coming, like in the spring when they saw their defense?
They were
like, oh boy, we're going to be in trouble. That's what
I can't imagine they thought it was this.
Like this bad. Right?
No, right. Because, you know, it's one thing, like they looked pretty good at times against Western Michigan, who's not that great, although won a big game against Toledo. It's one thing, Boston College, good offensive coach, was really engaged, good young quarterback, didn't look great. But then they didn't control the game entirely against Youngstown State, who just had to rally in the fourth quarter to beat Townsend last week. You know, like this, I think that the group is just not that. Now, if they're completely healthy, and it's not USC, I think, you know, we'll see what they look like in the Big Ten. And again, they have the bye, and you know, you got 8 more games of this. You don't just give up on it. But it's
and I'm saying in a perfect college football world, would you want to give Jonathan Smith $32 million to go get his guys? Sure. I just think, you know, the math with Jay Back coming in, it's not really his guy. It's a Haller hire with the way that I know we goof on the way that he doesn't show many emotions, but all of that can play into this if you know, the people that are donating money get kind of fed up. That's the only thing.
But they haven't been donating money, I think. That's been part of the problem.
But I'm saying is the proper way to do it to say, here, I think you're correct. I think Jonathan Smith is a good X's and O's, good old football coach guy. I just don't know if this is meant for him, if this era is meant for guys like him is all. And I think you can be right both ways. But I still agree, like, instead of firing him, I give him the $32 million. And again, it's just all my teams that I root for are telling me to be patient and slow down and blah, blah, blah is all.
Well, the problem is, and I had a conversation in L.A. with a friend about this. It was frustrated, right? And the problem is,
Graham,
that guy?
No, it was not that guy. But if Mel Tucker had a run of like 3 really good seasons, and then had done what happened, and got fired, and they'd lost some guys, but because there was sort of an exodus, they needed a rebuild, but people had just experienced 3 good years of winning. Part of what's happening right now, it's just been so long. It's been a decade since the Big Ten title and the playoff year. People endured the end of D'Antonio, which is frustrating. Outside of one year of the Mel Tucker era, they endured a frustrating stretch there. It's just continuous while their rivals around them seem to leave them behind, and now that includes Indiana, right, who the Big Ten tried to make their rival once, but now Indiana's great. And it's like, well, what the hell's going on there with the second year? So there's all this the stuff that's happening around them, and then it's the fact that it's just been so long. And Jonathan Smith and Rossi and all these guys are paying for the remnants of the recent past. It's not just them taking. It's not just year 2. It's like year 6, because that's the way people feel. They haven't been part of that, but other people have. And so I think that's what it comes down to. People are fed up, and the idea of being patient offensively, they put together a pretty good product. I think in some ways he is built for this era, because you don't have to have swagger. You don't have to have Lamborghinis at the 50-yard line. You have to have money. And in the revenue sharing era, Michigan State will have the money. They'll have as much money as everybody else in the revenue sharing. And it's going to be fascinating next year how the workaround happens with some teams. If they blatantly go out and spend, money that's not approved by the NCAA, whatever the fuck they are. We'll fix that in post. But, if it's not true NIL money, because a lot of people are saying that. You just saw the Arkansas AD basically said it's got to be like a true NIL money. We're not just going to pay players anymore. It will be very interesting to see, and maybe Michigan will just keep doing it, and maybe Michigan State will have to do it. It would have been interesting to see the Bryce Underwood contract a year from now with the rev sharing era, and how that was, paid for, and how they justified it, and maybe they'd have a way. And maybe the quarterback at Michigan is still worth that, and you can justify in an NIL deal, a true NIL deal, that's worth it. I don't entirely know, but the money on the rev share side now is going to be, I think, even a little more balanced. It's going to be about the decisions and the priorities you make. That defense has to become a priority in that sense.
David Jackson, the MSU defense is a shit show, but offensively, there's a chance. We beat our heads against the wall on the ground too often, leaving us with too many 3rd and longs. With what seems to be 2 elite wideouts, Childs needs to become Daryl the Mad Bomber LaMonica and go long more. If you're under 60, you need to look up Daryl LaMonica, I think.
Yeah. There's more here.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Bonus. There's no way anyone can convince me that Nick Marsh was anywhere close to healthy on Saturday. What did you tell us about how healthy Marsh was worth 14 points? How much did we lose by? And baked. I refuse to accept that we have the absolute least talented defensive ends in all of college football when it comes to pressuring a quarterback. Our coaches need help. We need a new coach, not unlike what Brandon Jordan was supposed to provide on Tucker's staff.
I don't think Marsh is 100% healthy. I don't. I think that was, they used him a little bit, but I think they would have used him a lot more if he was. And Smith even said that he, wasn't 100%. I don't know what that was worth. It was probably worth something. I don't know if it was worth more points than USC helped give them with the 4 penalties on 1 drive defensively. But yeah, I mean, if you add that was not the best of Nick Marsh, I don't think, available. And I think it helped that he was out there. It helped other guys. But we've seen the best of Nick Marsh, and I think they would have featured him more had he been 100% healthy.
Spartan 18770, number 1, the winner of the MSU-Nebraska game will make a bowl, and its fans will be somewhat satisfied. The loser will be home for the holidays as its fan base raises money to buy out their coach. And 2, Childs will declare for the draft after realizing he can't gamble on his NFL career with a O-line that can't block for 2 seconds. And baked. With MSU's receiver talent, Jonathan Smith needs to bring back Mouse Davis, run and shoot. We will lose 75-69, but we will be entertained.
Yeah, the run and shoot, man. I wonder if anybody in the NFL, everything comes in waves, but nobody's ever gone back to the run and shoot, which tells you something. It did not work in the NFL. It did work at Houston with Andre Ware for a little bit. That's part
sure
of
did.
Yeah, that's why the Lions.
By the way, a shootout even at 2 a.m. I mean, I don't know how exciting that can be. Man, oh man!
Did you make it to 2 a.m.?
I did.
I thought about you.
I went to bed with like 3 minutes to go, and they were down. Like it just looked like it wasn't going to happen. And yeah. I mean, come on. I could still stay up. It kind of messed up my Sunday morning, but what are you going to do? If it happens, like you mentioned, once every 2 seasons where they have a game like that, I can get over it. But if it's happening every year,
yeah,
my old ass will probably not stay up. It depends.
I tell you what, I didn't realize. I mean, I went out Wednesday night late, and so I was out there for a while, and I had to work. So I went very late Wednesday night and immediately was acclimated on the West Coast time. And coming back the other way, like last night, I had to drug myself to go to bed. It's like 3 a.m. I'm like wide awake. Like, what are we going to do now? It's God, I got to get up.
What do you consider drugging yourself? Like, what'd you take?
Tylenol PMs. Just a couple of them.
Mm.
But like that.
Crush them up, snort them?
Yeah, like 1,000. Yeah.
Wow.
But that makes me think about UCLA, like coming east and the body clocks of these guys. When you live out there and then you come east. And
are you comparing yourself to a young person's body clock?
What I'm saying.
Drawing comparisons with yourself at 40-something. What are you, 45? 45. 20 years older or younger, you couldn't handle that? I mean,
and a muskox flannel, I feel 20 years younger.
Badass athlete. Yeah. Just get me on a plane. We'll go play this game.
Maybe. But they live out there all the time. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm not saying it's as bad. I'm just saying I can imagine the body clock is tricky.
Yeah. Not a 46-year-old crying because he doesn't get 8.5 hours sleep. Dan Grave, MSU fans upset about where the program is now are right to be mad. They have maybe one more season of Childs, and honestly, he might be gone after 8 more games, and who could blame him? Graham said Rossi is a good coach, but does he ever produce any actual proof he's good? Also, the Matt Rule reputation is high because of an 11-win season where his best win was against an 8-5 Texas team. He has a career 52% win percentage, and from Ryan Schultz. Graham always likes to say Joe Rossi is a proven coordinator. The more accurate statement is that he was an adequate coordinator in the Big Ten West for a program that never won the division. And bonus, Luke Fickell regrets not taking the state job.
Boy, Luke Fickell, you think you're in hell.
Jeez.
Oh, my goodness. Wisconsin. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why. You talk about changing an identity. Jonathan Smith fits MSU a hell of a lot more than Luke Fickell and whatever the hell he was trying to do did to Wisconsin. Wisconsin had everything MSU, we've talked about MSU should be, right? Offensive line pay them as the NIL school, run the football, be physical. Wisconsin was everything, and Luke Fickell came in and said, I want to run the run and shoot. Like it was like, I don't know what, I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know if he told them that in a job interview. Like his name should not have been enough. If they heard that, if you're the AD and somebody says, I think we need to be an air raid school here. You're like, all right, get out now. We'll hire somebody else. Get out now. We don't need you.
Try saying that at Iowa.
Yeah,
we're gonna air it out.
Well, people might actually take it at Iowa. They're a little frustrated right now. To Dan's point and Ryan's on Rossi. I mean, if you want evidence, again, look up the numbers from the 2 of the 3 years before he came to Michigan State and what they were doing at Minnesota, what they did at Minnesota to MSU, and what that defense looked like. I mean, these were the top 10 defense in both points allowed and yards. I mean, it was a really, really good group that he had fostered, nurtured, and created, right? So, and if all he's been overall is adequate, then even an adequate coordinator, it ought to look better at some point than this. So, again, do I think Joe Rossi deserves some culpability? Yeah, it's his defense. And this is 16 games in. Do I think he's a good coordinator? Yeah. I think he should work hard to fix this, and I think that needs to become the priority.
Jake Windsor, who was the sire of Sean Windsor. Next. Number 1, Russell Wilson, a.k.a. Danger Russ, does not deserve to play another down in the NFL after that red zone series late in the game. And 2, Scatabo is the most entertaining rookie to watch since he plays like he really wants CTE. 3, MSU will have a tough time winning 5 games, especially with that D. And bonus, if the Lions win the Super Bowl, I'll try and get my dad to get a, and that's the taint tattoo on his chest.
Oh, my gosh. That would be something.
And that's the taint.
He'll back out like Couch, though.
That's true.
Couch owes everybody a tough belly tat.
Tough
and
sell.
that's the taint.
Chest is better than belly. I mean, it might hurt more, but
huh?
I mean, like
Oh, tattoo,
right?
Yeah.
Because belly expands and contracts. It's not great. It's I don't know. Fix that in post if you would. So here, MSU will have a tough time winning 5 games with that defense. To that take, and I think they'll get to 5 because UCLA is still on the schedule. And there's another win in there somewhere. That offense is too good, and not everybody's USC. USC is a really, really good offense. But it was a Saturday where some of the other results around made you go, The Maryland whipping of Wisconsin on the road was something you go, well, maybe that game at Ford Field will be interesting. Now it's a freshman quarterback, and so maybe you can mess with him a little more than Wisconsin did. And I still think Iowa is hardly a foregone conclusion. I think Michigan at home will be a competitive game. I think there's a track record of Penn State, even when they're a step above Michigan State, playing close games at Spartan Stadium. The hard thing for MSU is that some of the more winnable games, or so we think, are on the road. So, at Minnesota, for one, at Iowa. Like if those were at home, that would help. And you had the ones that are going to be really hard anyway on the road. If you're talking about total win total, I still think MSU has a really good chance to get to 6. But you take note, like Indiana. It's hard to imagine Michigan State right now going to Bloomington, Indiana, and winning that game. Right? It's just hard to imagine.
Spartan Dog 97. All great D's have nicknames: the Orange Crush, the Iron Curtain, and the Legion of Boom. This MSU defense should be called the Bonnie Blue defense because they'll let anyone score. Context: Bonnie Blue is the adult actress who slept with 1,000 people in 24 hours.
Thank you. Yeah.
Look that up.
It would be funny if a defense that wasn't very good adopted a nickname that made them sound not very good, just to at least play into it. Maybe not. Maybe people won't actually like that.
Dominic's ex-whore defense. Felipe Mendez next. I was listening to a national podcast, and the host was talking about how Georgia Tech invested in the trenches when Jay Batt was the AD. Sure hope he drives that home at MSU.
Yeah, I mean,
pound the bushes.
The problem for MSU is football is won in the trenches, and they lost in the trenches out west, right? And even up front, the offensive line, which I think is improved, I think most people would agree, was the one area on offense where they didn't hold their own all the time. They let too many, they didn't run it consistently. They had some moments running the football. It's better than it's been. It's better than it's been. That's a step. If the defense had made the steps the offensive line had taken, people would be okay with it because nobody expected the offensive line to be perfect. You don't see a lot of complaints about the offensive line right now. People know they're not perfect, but it does look like improvement. It looks like a step, and I think people can handle that. The defense looks like a step backward, and that's the struggle.
Mark Gamachi next, hot and baked. MSU is into coach 2 of 3 to 4 coaching rebuilding. What is this sentence?
Sorry.
MSU is into coach 2 of a 3 to 4 coach rebuilding effort. Okay.
Sorry, I need to put hyphens when I edit.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Bonus baked. There is only one game left that matters this season, and yes, it's only week 4, but I've seen this show before.
He's talking about the Michigan game. I think the Nebraska game matters a ton because I think based on what happened against Michigan, that Nebraska's a game Michigan State ought to be really competitive. And they were competitive. They were within a touchdown late in the third quarter against USC, who's better than Nebraska, I think. So if Michigan State can go to Nebraska and somehow win that game, and I'm not going to pick them to do it based on what we've seen, but if they were to do that, I don't think it's out of the realm. And then you have UCLA coming home, and you're 5-1 to start the year. Yeah, the back half of the schedule is wicked. You go to Indiana after that. You've got Michigan at home, at Minnesota, Penn State, at Iowa, Maryland. It's a tough back half. But if you enter that back half at 5-1, it feels pretty okay. It'll be a different vibe, and a win at a place like Nebraska, I think would be everything can't be a program win, so I don't even know what to call it. But you know what I mean. It'd be big.
Matt C., number 1, Jonathan Smith will never be accepted by fans and donors with a defense like this. This program identifies its best years with great defense, not some weirdo Ned Flanders dude who has the personality of a lobster.
I like lobsters.
You like their personality or the way they taste?
Have you ever heard a lobster when you put them in boiling water, the scream?
That you like that?
No, but I'm just saying they have a personality. There's more emotion than people are saying Jonathan Smith shows.
So we need to boil Jonathan Smith in some water.
Metaphorically.
And fire it up.
Yeah, not quite to the same degree. Maybe we fix that in post. That's.
Lobster.
Have you ever boiled a lobster yourself?
No, I don't like lobster. I'm a crab. I like the crab.
I mean, lobster's hard to eat. That's my only issue with it. But yeah, it's a sound, man. That's a story worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company.
Matt C's thing.
And where they do not have lobster, and you will not have to hear the screams of a lobster as it's boiled, but they have an unbelievable menu, and they cook it behind the scenes. And,
what if it said help? Would you still eat lobsters if they said help instead of wee?
No, I don't think I could. If it had a voice, yeah.
It's pretty crazy. We can't even knock them out, huh?
You won't hear the food being cooked at Midtown Brewing Company.
Is there a Tylenol PM the lobster could take? Knock it out first? Why are they alive? Have we talked about that?
Enjoy Trivia Tuesdays. Great place to watch games this weekend. To swing by, catch a Tigers game at night, and
don't do that.
And if you don't like what's happening, you can have an American Stout or 6 to feel a little bit better about what's going on the screen. Sorry, keep going.
Back to Matt C. Matt C, you got a live read in the middle of all these. Joe Rossi has been the DC for 12 games against Power 5 teams, and his defense has failed to get a sack in 8 of those games. He's not just bad, he's historically bad. If MSU was a serious football program, he would have been fired after the game, but we're not, and baked. J. Bat, bring Urban Meyer home.
All the hits here. All the hits. Fire somebody, bring Urban Meyer in. All the hits.
That is Matt C's classic.
Although I will say Matt C goes from like reasonable to everything. And he does say baked. Like I mean his first point was essentially the column I wrote yesterday. That's up at LSJ.com on like the defense is, it's got to be
You can
formidable.
say ass.
Well, no, it's got to be formidable. It's just got to be something people can connect with at Michigan State.
Chris Eastlick. The GMs in this town missed the obvious. Fans could see the Tigers needed bats before the season and arms at the deadline. Lions fans knew the team needed pass rushers, missed opportunities all over the board, and Harris and Holmes chose arrogance in their pressers. At least the Red Wings will be successful in year 27 of the rebuild.
Yeah, there's some Holmes-Harris parallels in that sense. Harris is worse, though, here. Yeah. Because, I mean,
getting rid of Morton, I mean, the Alex Cobb thing. Jesus.
Well, it's just, we talk about.
Verlander was sitting there for the taking. I think the Giants would have traded Verlander. Right?
Yes, they could have had Verlander. You talk about personalities, and Harris comes across a little smug like a know-it-all. And that is a hard thing to deal with when you're watching the Tigers play the way they're playing right now and lose what I believe Chris Castellani said would be the largest collapse in the history of a division. Is that
in
true?
The world?
In the world.
In the world division, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the biggest. It's going to be the biggest collapse.
It's incredible.
We have to sweat this Cleveland series.
It's incredible.
It's not fair what they're doing to us here. Like, come on. Kurt Wisniewski, number 1, the Tigers do not deserve to make the playoffs. 2, Jonathan Smith wasn't left in California and has a chance of redemption with a win at a beatable Nebraska.
That would help. You win 2 straight games. The next 2 games, you beat Nebraska, UCLA. People are feeling a little bit better about you. It's the way it goes. Winning cures,
but if you can't get to Raiola, I mean, I understand that he had a bad game against Michigan, but dude, he's good enough to where if you leave him, don't touch him whatsoever, he's going to tear you apart.
No, they could conceivably only win 1 more game all season if they don't get to some of these guys. You can't let. I mean, Maryland's quarterback is a freshman who probably can be rattled, right? But if you don't get to him, look what you see some of the throws he made to Wisconsin. Wisconsin wasn't anywhere near him, right? And yeah.
Is there a possibility this show ends in the next couple of weeks? Like, like Michigan State, like, just what's the point of doing it? The Tigers don't make the playoffs. Let's say something horrible happens to the Lions, like the Bengal happened to them. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it out loud, but just hypothetically.
But then this becomes a therapy session.
What kind of therapy is this? This is terrible.
It's not good therapy.
Michigan State has one chance to win 1 more game all season. I mean, this might be the worst. Come in 3 days a week. Well, sometimes 2. for this shit?
I think it's 2 this week, too. Yeah,
I think it
talk
is,
about
too.
it later.
Actually, I can talk about it right now.
Okay, yeah.
Friday is not as out.
Oh, yeah. Wednesday's out for me. So Thursday? We'll see you Thursday, maybe?
Yep.
All right,
Thursday it is.
All right,
cool.
guys.
See you Thursday. You want to end the show now? Oh. The Shane Halter of Southern Maine next. Got in on the Guardians winning the great. Got in on the Guardians winning the division when you discussed it on the pod weeks ago. Plus 2,000 seemed fun at the time. Cashed out Sunday morning. I don't want to win. It felt like blood money or owning Conflict Diamonds or some shit.
Yeah, no, I get that feeling. Like I do have a $25 bet that pays a little over 800, right? 33-1. I do not want to win it.
Good.
I would.
Then if you end up winning it, you break up the 800. We'll give it out.
I'm not doing that either.
Why not? It's blood money.
I will
give it to the listeners for all of you.
I'll break off a little something
for all of that you've done to these fans, these listeners of this podcast, of how they listen to the show on Monday. Like, oh, I can't wait to hear my hot takes. Oh, yeah, we'll have to get to these on Thursday. Next Thursday. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Like the Twitter questions. Oh, unfortunately, we got to get out for Jack Ebling. $800 would go a long way with the audience, I think.
We just need people like Jack Ebling and Tom Izzo, 2 men in their fucking 70s, to recognize what's what. This show should be a priority. If
the American way.
Yeah.
Except America has gotten soft.
All right.
I'm sure Jack's thought about it. Cooper, number 1. Jonathan Smith and Scott Harris get hate for the same reason. Their personalities. I'm not asking either of them to be fanatics and scream and shout. Just give us the appearance of caring. And 2, nice 18 months of fun Detroit/MSU sports fans have had. We're back to pain now. I know, man. It's like pain. It's like it always has to come back to pain.
Lions beat the Ravens tonight. Everybody's good.
Yeah, thank God. Let's do it. What's the worst case scenario, though, just so I can prepare myself? They look like they did against Green Bay. We get blown out.
I don't think they're getting blown out. I mean, they could. I understand. The Ravens are a really good team. They could lose on the road, and I don't think it's the end of the world. But outside of an injury, which obviously changes things, but outside of an injury, I think this is a worst case scenario. Is like a 32-21 loss, and that's not the end of the world. It's not great, but that's like the worst case scenario, right?
I hope so. Matt Boone, number 1, MSU defense used to be good at containing an offense to stay in the middle of the field. Now MSU defense takes bad angles and allows skill positions to bounce outside for big yards. And 2, the MSU O-line pass protection is what is killing the offense. The rest looks fine or great. And 3, we need this break for healing and figuring out how to fix problems.
It is a well-timed bye week. I mean, I'm definitely glad they're on a bye this week. I could just watching other games.
Why does it affect you? If they didn't have the bye week, it would affect you.
Well, no, I'm just
whenever you say it that way, I'm like, oh.
But I think fans are ready for an exhale. It's a great weekend of Premier League and college football and other things.
Ryder Cup.
It's a great sports weekend. Just take it away from MSU for a little bit. Exhale. I think it's I think you come back better. And I do like what the Big Ten's like. The 11 p.m. was ass. But if you're going to have an 11 p.m. game on the West Coast, at least have it going into a bye, right? So you're not getting this short week where guys are coming back already tired and preparing for another game or having to go back to Nebraska right away. I do like the way the schedule's set up in that sense.
Alex Mayer next. Best take. The 11 p.m. kickoff was ass as expected. They have to fix that moving forward. And from Izzo for president, why wasn't there more outrage about the 11 p.m. starting time? There was from fans, but how come nobody within MSU Athletics seemed to make a big stink about it?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a column about it, but MSU Athletics is being paid by Fox handsomely. So they're not going to they can't make the stink, right? They're in bed. This is MSU Athletics made this deal, essentially. So did all the Big Ten schools. This is part of this is biting the hands that feed you. This is, it's like me going off on my company for, sponsoring the coaches poll or hiring Los or something like that. I just wouldn't do it.
Ralph E. I'm a wimp and watched it on my DVR Sunday morning. I was thinking how much folks must have missed. I believe many watched until halftime, like my brother did, and went to bed. I hope they take the time to watch the second half. Lots of questions, but I came out feeling better than I probably should.
The third quarter was inspiring, might be too much of a word, but there were some good signs. There was some grit. So, you did have to like the response.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
And I think that was a good sign. It wasn't like this was a team that looked like they accepted their fate, or even a defense that accepted who they are. I mean, there are some flaws to this defense. We know that. But I think when you have a program that makes it interesting, like you saw entering the fourth quarter, those guys were on the sidelines jumping around to the music. Like MSU, they were down 7. They felt like they had a moment, and they did really. Like that was at 3rd and 3. If they had just been able to once sack the quarterback and end that drive and get the ball back down 7 the way things are going, who knows what that game looks like. But it's those moments that a defense has to come through, and they're just not able to, and those moments are going to cost them throughout this season.
Jebediah, the MSU defense is dog-ass, either because the staff ran out of bucks to get impact players in the portal or completely overestimated their roster's talent. Neither reason is acceptable. And bonus, the best part about MSU playing at 11 p.m. is you know damn well Fox is going to continue to blow Michigan and make their game at USC a noon kick.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
Yeah, it will be probably a noon. That came out today, didn't it? So what's that? Hold on, let me see if we got that. Yeah, off.
I am the passenger.
He's got a stupid-looking face.
And I ride and I ride. I ride
All right.
the city's backside.
Yep. Noon kick, October 4th. Yeah, there you go. So
awesome.
Is that? I guess that's USC, isn't it? Is that who they play? Doesn't even say in the graphic. This is how big Michigan football is. They don't even mention the opponent in the graphic for the game. It's October 4th, Michigan Stadium, Fox, homecoming maze-out game. There's no mention.
You're coming there to watch us.
Yeah, there's no mention
Doesn't
of
matter
who
who we're playing.
Fucking play. Unreal.
Oh, man. Jay Brew, number 1, winning football has happened in East Lansing. We all need to start acting like it. That includes coaches, administration, donors, and fans. And 2, the passing game could open the running game. And 3, the current defense is an embarrassment to the past players of this program.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing about MSU football, and I get this is a different era, a different Big Ten and all that stuff than even 10 years ago. But it's fresh in everybody's mind. You don't have to be very old to remember a different era of Michigan State football. So people know it can be done, and it can be done a certain way, and that's, I think, part of the frustration too.
Chris, next. How hard is it for the corners and safeties to be in the correct positions? Too often they were looking in the backfield at the line of scrimmage while receivers streak wide open in their end zone, in their zone. Can't afford that against great offenses like USC, and hope they turn it around and get the dub at Nebraska.
No, I mean, I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's pretty open-minded and kind of like, rational.
Rational takes Chris.
Well, I'm saying, I want to be there, but I'm saying I just can't watching a defense like that. You're like, hope they turn it around and get the dub against Nebraska. Maybe one day I'll be like that, maybe in a decade. Joseph, David, 2 worst things. Number 1, missed tackles. I'm including the bad angles where the linebackers and DBs didn't even get in position to make contact in this category. And 2, the defensive line got manhandled every play. 2 positives. Number 1, Child's accuracy and decision-making was good. 2, receiving corps played well. #MSU.
You know what Michigan State's defense needs?
Myles Garrett Jr.
Well, that would help. But even more importantly, they just need to deal with muskox flannel, right? They need to adopt the muskox. They need to be a herd of muskox, rambling toward the offense,
Get one for Jonathan Smith. What if he put one on? It might change things.
I just think if they did their Spartan walk, they did their walk to the stadium, all of them wearing, muskox flannels, they would look badass. They would look intimidating. I mean, if you are whatever you do in life, if you are the version in your career that Michigan State's defense is right now, if you are not cutting it, if you need a different persona, if you need to look the part, get yourself a muskox flannel, because that's what Michigan State's defense needs. You need to go to gomuskox.com, and you can use the promo code Peacock for $15 off a flannel purchase. Look your best, feel your best, and if you're not cutting it, start cutting it with a muskox flannel.
That's crazy.
Peasy next. The amount of times MSU players are completely out of position on defense is a coaching and scheme issue. No number of top 40 defenses in the Big Ten West changes that. Rossi can't come back next year, barring a massive turnaround. In bonus, long live Charlie Morton. #thanks, Scott.
I thought Charlie Morton actually for a while was a good pickup. And then when you see what happened at the end,
that's what they wanted you to believe.
I know.
And then we were like, oh, yeah, Charlie Morton. Yeah, I know he's 40, but still, he's got some left.
That's what us
Let's
40.
Just be patient, guys.
That's what us 40-year-olds think, right? It's like,
I know. I guess I can't go against Sky Harris. You know, he's a smart genius guy, and I'm just a guy.
He
knows what he's doing.
The offseason is going to be interesting for him and for that team. Yeah.
Owen, MSU is some really solid guys at linebacker and safety, maybe even D-line. But they are missing the tackling ability, athleticism, and toughness that those D'Antonio defenses had. Rossi can get more out of this group, but defense needs to be the focal point this offseason.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better. I mean, you can't stop. I mean, you got to be able to walk and chew gum, right? You got to keep building the offense. You'll see if you got to make sure you have Childs and March back, and if one of them were to leave the NFL or transfer or something, you got to keep building your offense, right? You got to, especially if your offense right now is what's carrying you. But it's the hope if you're them is that you've got some guys internally who are young guys, and you're making some strides that just aren't showing up yet. But it needs to be where you put your resources.
Munfield Keg, I'm willing to give the defensive staff one more year. It is alarming, though, that in the portal era, this defensive line is what we have.
Yeah, well said.
But you know what? See you guys next year. Let's run it back. Todd Trusadell. The MSU football game went as expected. Some fight. The lack of investment in the defensive talent shows major concerns in roster construction with the staff. If you can't stop anyone, why pay high end for quarterbacks and wide receivers? Then bonus, not baked. Europe plus 170 in the Ryder Cup is the play.
That is.
If you're a trader, what do you mean?
So what's the U.S. must be like? What is it? Minus 150 or
140 or something like that? Yeah, there's no value in that.
So
it's not going to be any
the values in the Europe.
I mean, a little bit. Yeah, you're getting plus 170 Europe. I mean, Europe is great. Obviously, Beth Page, though, they're playing on U.S. soil. I mean, there's definitely a home course. What do you call it? Home course advantage for the U.S. So. Yeah. But I'm definitely not going to bet them minus 140.
And betting Europe, if you're rooting for the U.S., is hard because it ruins. Like we always say, it just it's like the Guardians bet to win the division. Like, yeah, it's great you win some money, but it ruins it. And you're not. And the reason I liked that bet at the time, to be honest, is because you put $25 on something that you forget about, and you don't mind losing it. Like if you were betting against the Tigers this week, which might be smart money in Cleveland, but if you were just betting them game by game, that would suck to watch those games. And you may think you're not rooting for the Guardians, but you would
anyway.
Yeah, it sucks.
Take the money out of my pocket too. Go ahead. What does it matter? Jake Elicoyer next. Indiana recorded 7 sacks in a single game versus a top 10 team. More than MSU has this entire season. The results and complete lack of progress from MSU's defense in 3 seasons is unacceptable over 4 portal cycles. The offense is good enough. The defense is not.
Yeah, I mean, I give them some. Like last year, I give them a pass. First of all, the defense was better last year than it is this year. Statistically, at least by the end of the season. So we'll see what it looks like when all the when they're not playing USC and all that. But last year you're a first year program. It's a fire hose when you first come in terms of talent and trying to figure out what's what, and you don't really know what you have on your roster. This year you should have had a better sense, and that they didn't add some players, and maybe they added guys that just haven't worked out. Part of this is the evaluation and getting guys that hit. And offensively, I think they've done a pretty good job there. Defensively, it hasn't happened, but maybe that's also resource allocation. These are things that, as this season plays out and you start looking at the offseason and other things, these are things that need to be asked.
Couch on fire. It might not be fair, but Cignetti is an albatross around Smith's neck. Indiana, a football powerhouse, while we can't seem to get anything from the portal, NIL, what the fuck? Baked. I watched a lot of college football, but didn't see the MASH unit that MSU was again and again. Graham.
Well, when two guys,
since you say it happens to everyone,
right? Well, when two guys collide heads, like that's not again, is it the training staff? Like, hey guys, don't collide heads. Let's not do that.
Are they mentioning it? I mean, I watch local news and they tell me to bring the pets inside when it's 95 degrees. Maybe we'd have to.
Maybe this needs to.
Like when tax season rolls around, they do a story telling me when they're due.
Yeah. You might be right. My bad.
Hey guys, do not hit each other with a helmet. Sparty Barb. This loss stings even more because of Indiana's success. The fact that a basketball school has surpassed us in finances and the transfer portal is inexcusable and bonus. Congrats to MSU women's volleyball, a 10-0 start this season.
It's real this week, though. MSU volleyball goes to Minnesota, Kristen Kelsey's former school, and then hosts Michigan. I'm actually going to do a column on them this week. Good bye week column.
All right. Maddie B, number 1, Indiana couch. Talk about their schedule all you want. They're a wagon. It's no hit wonder. We got passed by Indiana. A basketball school has a better product than we do. But tell us how patient we should be. Missing assignments, confusion in the secondary, ass. 2, you know what makes things even better? We get in a position to get within 3, and Lindgren decides Amari Kelly is his quarterback, and Nick Marsh, who would ever need to use a stud wide receiver like that right in the red zone. Come on, man.
I actually really liked the creativity, and I thought Lindgren coached a good game. But I understand what you're saying there about Kelly. He was a quarterback in high school, and one of the plays worked, and he was, one of the plays he picked the ball, like the throw to him was awful, like bounced off the turf and everything. To the Indiana point, because we're getting a few of these here. Cignetti is obviously an amazing hire, an outstanding coach. Guy's in his 60s. You know how many ADs fucked up not hiring that guy ahead of time? One of the things about Cignetti, and if you want Cignetti, and I'm not saying you shouldn't want Cignetti, but to want Cignetti is to say I will never judge the press conference hire again, because Cignetti, okay, when he was at James Madison, you hire him in Indiana, people are okay with that. But Cignetti has been available for years and years and years, and he was the coach he is today probably for quite a while. Finding those guys is key, and having an athletic director or an administration that can locate them and bring them in, and then understanding the real key is, can you trust that person then to find that person? Because you lose that press conference, but it's sometimes an amazing coaching hire. Although the timing of last year with all those guys that came over from James Madison was part of it. This year they've done an awesome job in the portal. They've upgraded at quarterback, which is they've gone out and found what they needed, and they've done it without. I don't think their resources are better than Michigan State's. And so that is the example where the criticism is now fair in terms of roster building, because they went out and identified what they need, and they look fantastic. It is tough, and it's tough because it is a direct comparison, and this happens once in a while. But you see a second-year coach who is just at Indiana of all places, and it's like, wait a sec, what? And so I get it.
Is this your apology?
No, it's not my apology. I do think Indiana's roster was in better shape than Michigan State's a year ago coming in. But it's freaking Indiana, man.
Jordan Villarreal next. Number 1, Graham saying that the Rainbows is a bad mascot. Confirmed he would push me down a flight of stairs if we met.
That's not.
Man. Yeah, you did seem kind of like agitated when you heard about the Rainbows being like a mascot.
No, there was no agitation.
You were kind of like, I remember that so vividly now.
Zero agitation.
You were kind of ornery. 2, saw some solid things from MSU's offense, but if we watched a tape of all the missed tackles on defense and missed blocks from the O-line together, we would just be watching the entire game. And spin zone, those are small things that can be fixed.
Yeah.
Getting to the quarterback, can it be fixed?
That's the thing, right?
Can you fix that?
I do think this is a team that can be okay tackling in space. They didn't do it always against Youngstown State, and they had some run fits that were off. But I think there are elements of the defense that can be better than they've been. But at some point, it was last year, it is now, if you can't disrupt the quarterback, you can't change their timing and make them uncomfortable, you just can't win. And I don't know what the fix is in season.
TC Brunzi next. Absolutely wild NFL weekend proves the NFL is unmatched anywhere in the world. NFL Red Zone makes Premier League soccer look like an oil painting. The wildness could continue tonight and baked. I thought Cignetti was not that good. I was wrong. Or Bert is that bad. It could be Bert's that bad. I mean, come on. All this Altmaier shit I was hearing about, like, the Illinois playoff.
Boy, that's if you're Illinois and all of a sudden you thought you were in the playoffs and then you get hit like that, it's like, what a deflating.
Cignetti pulls up his khakis and laughs at you.
2 basketball schools going at it, And then the funny thing is, now Illinois fans will stop showing up. Be like, I guess they'll show up.
I mean, could you blame them though? I wouldn't want anyone to see me.
Well, and you talk about getting it 2 weeks in a row. Illinois host USC this week, so they get another offense like that right away.
G.E. Miller Rossi is coaching for his and likely his boss's job for the rest of this year. Yeah, he doesn't have DNs, but that's no excuse for routine misalignment, poor tackling technique, and soft zone coverage and no adjustments. And baked. Signetti is a cocky, relentless, excuseless genius maniac, and I want one of those coaching my team.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he's absolutely.
Yeah, but he's not going to win the opening press conference, according to Couch.
And he has no courage when it comes to scheduling. But otherwise, no, you're right. It's been a great hire.
That guy, yeah.
I mean, you think how crazy it sounded when he went to that Indiana basketball game early on, and he was talking about like winning the Big Ten or whatever he said in year one. It was like, all right, here's some whack job. And then last year, it's like, oh, okay, that guy actually knows what he's doing. How did nobody figure this out earlier?
Hands on his hips.
Yeah, he's that good.
It's going to be unbelievable. Yeah. Big John Hogg. Number one, if Smith views this job as worth saving, Rossi needs to go. 2, J-Bat will bring in Brent Key after firing Smith. And 3, targeting remains the dumbest, most arbitrary rule in the sport. And bonus, what is this word?
I don't know.
BNIM, he puts on here, all one word. Going to propose a constitutional amendment to ban kickoffs later than 8 p.m. That was ass. It was ass. I mean, it was, yeah.
I mean, out west, there have been 8 felt late, though. There have been 7:30 games. Like Michigan State played Arizona State at 7:30 kickoff. And they had to do that because Arizona State, there's a rule out there. It was a Pac-12 rule at the time because it's an uninhabitable climate that they can't play day games till like mid-October or something. But the game ended. It was almost 3 a.m. when the game ended. That's just not fair to people. I mean,
I thought about keeping it going. Like, let's just call some people the old days.
Yeah, get it. Yeah, okay.
Screw it.
The old days. What would that look like?
Nothing really. It's sad. It would have been sad.
Well, okay. 2008 Jason decides he wants to keep it going in the old days, so to speak.
Yeah.
What would that?
I would have had some prescription medication that would have allowed me to stay up and feel great during that hour, coupled with booze, and then I would have ended up flaming out at like 7 a.m. at some diner, probably just being depressed. It would have been a terrible Sunday. Yeah, they weren't
But a story worth telling, and he could have kept it going by going to brunch at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing, which is a great way to have any Sunday. Look, Midtown has a great menu. I love what their chef does there. And it's an underrated place to watch a game, too. So if it's a Sunday, whatever day it is, if you want a place that you can just duck in and watch the Tigers for a little while, and then after the second inning, be like, fuck this noise, Midtown Brewing Company is here for you.
Nestle's Quick Hotel, the MSU program is back to where it was pre-D'Antonio. Too far away from being relevant to have it be a factor in recruiting or portaling. This staff is going to have to prove that success here is even possible in this new landscape. And I'm not sure if it's even possible. So
that's part of the problem with the D'Antonio era, and that's part of the frustration, is what D'Antonio did proved it could be done at Michigan State. And then the world changed, in the college football world. And so we don't know. We don't know if what D'Antonio did could ultimately happen. In D'Antonio's first year, they didn't lose anybody. They kept every single player. They've got like 70 new dudes when Jonathan Smith has his first year. That's a totally different era, right? Like it's just you cannot build the way you used to in college football. So I don't know if it would have worked for D'Antonio. I don't know and how that changes things at MSU. There's an argument because it's more about resources, and I think MSU has resources that are in the top half of the Big Ten, that MSU should be fine. It's how you allocate them. But you're right. It has to be proven again.
MCV. Number one, it looks like the MSU fan base would rather lose a game at home, 7-10, instead of 31-45 on the road. Be careful what you wish for. And bonus, Dylan Raiola is the spitting image of Patrick Mahomes until he starts playing football.
Yeah.
It's a weird bit. Danny Cannell was like, it's good to look up to somebody. I'm like, yeah, you can look up to somebody and like the way but when you start dressing, wearing armbands, and you do all the mannerisms, and by the way, being down 10-0, and then you break a tackle, and then you get up and do the arms like you're tough. I'm like, it's such a tool.
He's like Harold Miner to Michael Jordan. Something like that.
It's a very good comparison. Yeah. Some people under 40 would have to look that up.
Yeah.
Adam versus next. Number one, for those who want to can Smith, get some perspective. The man is still cleaning up the huge Tucker mess.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
A lot of Tucker mess. 2, weakness in the D-line and secondary is obvious. But linebackers still lack speed, too. Exposed on underneath routes and screens. 3, Giles is for real.
There's a lot of people have turned on or have changed their tune on Giles. And I think that's something to remember. Like, I'm old enough to remember July. And there weren't a lot of people here who thought Giles was, even after the first game this year.
No one knew in July.
Again, what I'm saying is all the things people feel about Jonathan Smith change if they start winning.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So
look competent.
The lopster comparisons, whatever.
Get a sack. Yeah, right. A sack once a game.
A sack would help.
Start doing that.
A sack would help. Yeah. That's.
PHBA, regret going to the game. USC fans are more intolerable than Michigan fans. Definitely not a place to bring your kids.
Wow. Where did you sit?
I need to go to USC then. Yeah. No kids? A place where you shouldn't bring kids. I want to go there. Man, Daniel R. Patterson. MSU was scrappy versus USC, but the offense failed to get the ball to Nick Marsh enough. Got to use your best player more. The Spartans have been weak up front on both sides of the ball, and the team is injury prone. Defense is so bad it gives MSU a chance to lose every game. We need healing and a win at Nebraska.
A win in Nebraska could go a long way, but wins always do. But a road win at a program like that, I'm not saying Nebraska's great, but the other thing it would do is you just saw Nebraska lose to Michigan in a really close game. And so if you go to Nebraska and you win, like Michigan did in what will probably be a close game, it lets you know level-wise, too, that you can play with the team in the game that's really going to matter to you down the road. So, and I don't mean the team down the road. I'm not afraid to say Michigan. I mean down the road on the schedule. Thank you. So I just don't want people to think I'm calling Michigan the team down the road.
I know. I like how you just said thank you at the end. Thank you. That's my statement. Bill McLeod, rough week to be a Tiger, Detroit or Clemson. Please, Joe, start scouting any Clemson player who might jump ship. And please, Tarek, get Detroit into the playoffs. So why get us into the playoffs? What are we going to do?
Yeah, at this point, you want to have a bye. It's going to be awful.
I
don't know if you want them there. Clemson.
Yeah.
Not great. That sucks.
Now, if Jonathan Smith, let's say they let Jonathan Smith go, Dabo Swinney, Michigan State. Let's start that rumor right now.
Can you imagine?
I mean, if the UCLA thing caught wind, come on.
Be like 2 games. Why doesn't he use the transfer portal? Well, he tells you he's not going to use it, so you can't complain.
Dude, a Dabo presser with you guys. Oh my God, that'd be awesome,
man. I would actually enjoy covering Dabo. I think.
You think so? I think it would be angry couch, like couch.
No,
that picture that I always use.
With
your arms folded, staring straight ahead.
I mean, he and I wouldn't relate on everything, but like I think there are things that like just from a coverage standpoint, I would really enjoy covering him. I don't think we'd be friends necessarily. I'm just saying, like. I would enjoy the theater of it, and I still think he's a good coach, and it would be interesting if he leaves Clemson because he feels unwanted, and I don't think he's going to, and he goes somewhere else and just spite. How much can you win based on spite? Because I think that would be part of what it was.
C-Dubs 91 hot. I think MSU is closer to being great than people think. USC is really talented, and MSU was a missed sack from having a chance to tie the game, and reasonable. We all need to stay off social media during games, especially if we want top recruits and transfers to come to MSU. And ultra baked. MSU needs to put Lats on the payroll to give pre- and post-game motivational speeches to every team.
Go out there, play hard, stick your cleats so far up their asses that they've got to use the cleats to brush their teeth with.
I mean, if that doesn't work at halftime.
Yeah, that's fair.
Go get a sack.
That's fair.
Put your cleats so far up their ass.
To the first one, a couple of these, the idea that MSU is closer to being great than people think. I think the offense is pretty good. I do. I think putting the response they had, some of the big plays, I think Aiden Childs is a really good quarterback. I just think defensively that can't be who you are if you're further from greatness than you think. Now, is that if you had 2 dudes on the defensive front who really made a difference? Yeah, so maybe it's 2 guys, but that feels like a long way away still. To the idea of staying off social media and how that impacts recruiting, I think all fan bases are toxic like this to this point. So I don't know, but I do think it could be an advantage if somehow you were able to police it, or as a fan base you came in and said, we're just not going to be part of that. Like, we understand we can be the one fan base that isn't this, and it could help recruiting, it could help the environment, it could help retention. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I do wonder, like, you see the parents interact with people and they get frustrated with people online, and I do wonder how much recruits really feel it and really understand just how conditional your love is. Like, if I were a college player, I would struggle to, in soccer games, they go up and they applaud the crowd after games for coming out there. I would struggle to, like, respect fans because I'd know the second I effed up, I was going to feel your wrath on social media. Like, faucet liquor was going to be all over my ass.
Josh Inwood. I've been rooting for MSU for 30 years, ever since that epic Michigan versus Michigan State game in 95 when MSU beat the cheaters. In 30 years, MSU has hired the right coach once. There is no reason we should be anything worse than a consistent 8-win football team. Disappointing to see such a weak defense.
Yeah, it's not good. They got to fix that. And you're right. I think this is a program that should be consistently, an 8 or 9 win type team, and then has years where they're above that. That should be what they're striving to do. They're not there yet.
But you make it sound so easy. Yeah, you got to fix that.
I know.
Right. Well, see you guys after the bye week.
Yeah,
got to fix that.
But I'm not. But
anybody that can get a sack.
Rossi's well paid to fix it. That's the thing. That's part of the job.
Max. Jonathan Smith is being set up to fail. It doesn't take a genius to see what this team's deficiencies are. The offensive and defensive lines, since it is so obvious, I have to believe the staff also sees it. Clearly, he's not being given enough money to build both. When a program like Indiana passes you by, it is time to either give him enough money to compete or to fire him.
I think the shame is when you have a guy who's been a good coach somewhere else, if he never has the resources to do it right, I think that's ass. So, I'm not saying Jonathan Smith is the perfect fit. I'm not saying it'll work. But I think if you don't give him the resources to give it a shot and you were to move on before that, I think that's ridiculous.
Eric Larson, thankfully only 11 days until Midnight Madness. Bonus. Best bit on the show is where Graham, despite collating and ordering the takes and questions, is surprised when they come up and he needs to take time with Hoff to research them on the air. It is fascinating.
Yeah, it is amazing. Well, sometimes I see them briefly, but I don't have time to look things up. And sometimes I when I get rushed, I don't see them. But yes, you're right. It's a fair point. 11 days till Midnight Madness today, the first day of MSU football or basketball practice. I'll do a quick takes on that.
And we said, "Would somebody please guard somebody?"
So that's fun. Yeah, I like hoops, so I'm good with that.
Richard Kane, best. MSU's multiple playmakers will overcome the offensive line's deficiency. Bonus, an album for a long drive, The Warning, live. Baked. Listening to Graham describe the apple cheesecake donut, one has to wonder about his 2-minute cents. 2-minute cents.
I don't know what that means.
2-minute cents.
You know what that word means?
It's another fancy word for douche. Wonder about him being a douche. 2-minute cents.
State of quality of being swollen as a result of blood engorgement.
Wow.
What bloated belly. Oh, right.
Hit images.
Not doing this. Yeah.
Bill Hoffmeyer. The NCAA did the Spartans dirty with that 11 p.m. start time. A trip west and then the late start. Fatigue is a problem. It leads to injuries, and I think we saw fatigue as a factor in all aspects of play. Screw them. Also, #fire Amy Folin. Oh, she still has a job?
Yeah. Let's see. How's CMU football doing? Let's see. Hold on. CMU football. They win last week.
Yeah, the bright in the hollow sky. You know it looks so good tonight.
Oh yeah, they beat Wagner 49-10. Good for them.
Rocco in Chicago. Number one, the quality of product of an 11 p.m. kickoff coupled with nonsensical ejections has me questioning how long fans should put up with the seemingly constant changes that hurt the overall sport. And two, it's hard to fully get behind Smith without some type of program or team identity. I expected there to be something resembling that by now. And three, despite watching most games throughout the summer, it is hard to believe how little I care about the Tigers' choke. Football will always be king. Good for you. Good for you, Rocco. Good for you for ignoring baseball. That's fine. I don't blame you.
Yeah. I think the 11 p.m. thing is, I think once every 3-4 years, 5 years, people can deal with it. I think
yeah,
Jason's
but then why
right.
are you doing it?
Well,
I'm saying if you did it once a season, I still would think it's ass.
No, it's still ass. It's disrespectful. It really is, and it's
right.
unnecessary too. They should be able to sort that out in the next TV contract. They should be creative enough to do so. But we're also talking about a business that hasn't figured out another way to create advertising dollars than 4-minute commercial, kickoff, 4-minute commercial. I mean, these guys are not, they're just sucking the money out of you because they can, but they're not brilliant.
Kevin from Rochester Hills, number 1, the Tigers are unwatchable, and 2, Nebraska's quarterback Rayola's obsession with Mahomes is creepy. Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
They are the unwatchable is a good line. I don't want to see it right now. I've kind of stopped watching. I didn't
even want to talk about it today. I don't know there's nothing to say.
Yeah.
You got AJ Hinch going in there. I know, like, he's not. What is he supposed to say? It's the one time I get AJ. Like, what are you supposed to go in a post game presser? It's like, we suck ass. Like, he's not going to say it that way. I don't know. Pat Caverly, if the Tigers blow this lead, Scott Harris should have to face the media and answer all questions regarding decisions at the trade deadline or lack thereof. And baked. Cam Young goes 4-0 and leads the U.S. to a 14.5 to a 13.5 win in the Ryder Cup.
There you go.
Oh, that'd be sick.
I do think he's got to show contrition. Might be the wrong word.
Scott Harris and Jeff Rieger, a one-on-one. We don't need a bunch of the media there.
Yeah.
Just Rieger, because Rieger will ask him the questions.
And Harris just needs to come across as somebody who screwed up. People will forgive. But if he comes across still trying to sound like the smartest guy in the room, like, no, this is all part of the plan, I don't mind.
Telling us about the minor league teams and their records and how they won their division.
People don't want that. You got to be smarter than that. You got to meet people where they are.
You don't know ball. Jay Riemenschneider, Michigan made Nebraska look how Oklahoma made Michigan look. Both lines dominated, and the score was closer than how the game actually played out. Yet I'm still not sure about them. Yeah, because Nebraska, it just was pathetic.
Yeah.
So, good for Michigan going in and winning that game. And I guess Underwood looked all right, but I'm not getting, did Michigan go in and take that from them? And just Nebraska looks like they were shit.
Yeah, and it does. It is one of those things where Michigan, because you're playing a freshman quarterback, no matter how talented, and I don't think they have the greatest receiving core. Like, I think the New Mexico win's more impressive by the day. Obviously, the Trunk Central. It was Wisconsin they play on October 4th. They play USC October 11th. So that game time isn't out, by the way. They're going to kill Wisconsin. They have a bye week right now. When they go to USC on October 11th, and that won't be a noon game, but that's the game, we'll have a direct comparison with Michigan State, so that'll be interesting.
Original, Dark Mantonio, not talking age, race, or marital status, just your likes outside of your interest in sports gambling and weed gummies. You two have absolutely nothing at all in common. They say opposites attract, so maybe that's the key to the show. But sometimes while listening, I'm wowed at your differences. Bonus, Biff Poggi saying Wink was calling out defensive plays before Nebraska snapped the ball was golden. I can hear it now. See, they always cheat. It's fantastic. Ha 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 ha. That was in here. H-A-H.
We're actually more similar than people realize. And we have to play that out for our differences. Like Jason actually is a fierce lover of Hallmark movies. He's excited about the Christmas and Hallmark. October 17th, Christmas and Hallmark.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And you know where you can find all that? On Xfinity. That's right. You order Xfinity today, you won't miss any Hallmark. You can flip back easy. You want to watch Hallmark? Christmas movies? You want to watch all your new shows coming back everywhere? All of it at Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com today. Type in your address for a deal. All the sports. You can also bundle it with home internet and get the best deal possible for you. Again, Xfinity.com. Type in your address, see what the best deal is for you.
Eric Smith, all you get is baked. I've been saying all season that the Tigers can't be as good as their record. I also refuse to believe they're going down like this. The Cubs have a World Series in this decade. It has to eventually come around, right?
It's not going to come around this year, I don't think. The Scooball goes out and pitches like a no-no. On Tuesday, and they're up 2 games. But the problem is they go to Boston. I don't think they're going to win.
Hey, Tarek, no sweat, by the way. Yeah. Just need you to go and pitch a no-hitter, and we're not going to extend your contract. We're not even talking about a new contract, but we need a no-hitter.
Just right now.
Fuck this. You know what I mean? This ownership. Fucking Steve, greatest September collapse. Cubs, September 1969. Record was 8 wins and 17 losses. 8-17. The Tigers, 5-13. Who is worse?
Oh, the Tigers, because it was 15 at one point. The Tigers collapsed.
And I was negative 10 in 69. I don't remember that shit. This is way worse.
This is worse.
It's fucking ponderous. Mojo Jojo hot. This is the worst Detroit team collapse in our lifetimes. I feel worse about this team than the 0-16 Lions. Since this Tigers team looked good, not great necessarily, almost all season, AJ and Scott have a lot of explaining to do. And bonus, only thing one can miss about living in California is the start times on Saturdays and Sundays. Donuts and game days. A match made in hashtag Graham's Xfinity Multi-View Nirvana. That's such a long hashtag.
I like it though. It's well played. Well played. That is well done. Worst Detroit collapse in our lifetime. I'm trying to think of other things that have happened. Like, there's got to be a Lions something, or I mean, there have been individual games that have been bad. I mean, but not. I'm trying to think if there's a collapse that's anywhere near this.
It's not.
No. There definitely isn't.
Give me some off.
Let's jump down to our friend Hans, and then we'll do Hans, Jake, and Upper Deck Jerk Guy to wrap. We will get to these others on Thursday when we come back. There's some other really good ones, and apologize. This is
if that Cleveland bet hits, you spread that 800 out.
There you go.
The
and this is Izzo's fault. I mean, Izzo's presser's at noon during the season. Practice usually ends at 5. Why he goes 2:30 on a Monday?
Whatever.
Don't
blame him.
He knows
he's a
the
legend.
Show.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He knows the show. He knows the show. Come on.
Hans Jerk. Number 1, football has too many commercials. Walter Camp didn't want this. 2, MSU showed grit by not quitting on the road. Graham showed a lack of ethics at his last trip to the buffet. 3, University of Spoiled Children is the most odious foe to fall to. And bonus. Oh, Tigers, you're breaking my heart. Well, double bonus. The only guy to not block a kick on Sunday was Graham.
It felt like it. Yeah, it felt like it.
Although you could have. He's put you out there.
It's amazing they allow the tush push and they don't allow people to just throw. I know you can
throw a kick. What are you talking about?
No, throw like a defender toward the kick.
The tush push is going away though.
It is after this year.
Yeah,
it was interesting to hear. Was it on the broadcast where they mentioned that, or maybe it was a podcast I was listening to? It was a podcast.
Oh, I'm sure it was the broadcast. What else do they have to talk about?
Basically, one of the reasons teams didn't vote entirely against it was they didn't want to look at, well, they just won the Super Bowl, so now we're going to take this away. Like, if they hadn't won the Super Bowl, it'd be easier to vote against it. It's sort of like Kevin Durant. If the Warriors had won the championship the year before he went there, he wouldn't have gone there because it looks like you're joining the championship. You don't want to be it can't be that reaction. I think it'll be gone after this year as long as the Eagles don't win the championship.
Jake Hawkins, number 1, this MSU defense is so atrocious. It is unacceptable. Tough, hard-nosed defense is what made MSU football so great. It should have continued even after Mark D'Antonio retired. Why the hell can't MSU put it all together or do it for consistent seasons? And 2, getting to 6 wins is going to be tough. And bonus, thank God Wayne Matthews is going to be okay. LA Memorial Coliseum is a sweet venue. It's easy to see why USC is such a powerhouse college football blue blood. One of the best marching bands and pregame ceremonies I've ever seen. And I love when the announcer said, "Move those chains."
It is a cool environment. It's a cool setting. It's fun. It's interesting that now with Michigan State, or with all these teams being in the Big Ten, Michigan State will be out there, pretty much every couple of years, and at least every 3 or 4, and will people keep making these trips? I know the alumni out there will, but it'll be interesting to see how much this becomes a road trip when it's like people are going out west in basketball season, every football season. I'll be curious to see that. By the way, I did not mean to skip Scotty Green's El Camino. We'll get to you Thursday because his old bit that he's been skipped. I skipped when his wife or his fiance or girlfriend was listening, and I did it again. And Scotty, I
Graham, I actually had my parents in the car, and I told them, "Hey, I'm Scotty Green's El Camino.
I'm not turning
Dad.
I'm not turning it into a bit."
And I said Monday was going to be the show.
Sorry, man.
Seriously, that Guardians thing hits. You got to spread some money out. All right, Jerk Guy finally takes from my morning watch of the MSU game. Injuries. Depth is going to be an issue for this team as injuries continue to pile up. Good showing by replacement players, but attrition is going to take effect through the season. And trenches. Not enough talent to protect Childs on the offensive side or appoint pressure on the defensive side. Apply whatever. Okay, I worry about Childs getting injured, trying to do too much, and getting hit too often, and grit. This team suffered a lot of adversity in this game and held in and continued to fight. There is talent and desire, but it will be ugly in some games this year. That grit will not be enough. At the same time, that grit may get them a win that surprises. And bonus, Jason Benetti and Fox really pissed me off when Matthews was down on the field and they went to graphics and an in-game commercial. Benetti in general seemed like he was doing a USC broadcast rather than a national one.
I've heard a lot of people didn't love the Benetti performance, but
really,
I didn't listen. Did it seem
I
like
don't know.
that?
It was too late. T was in bed. I was probably listening to something.
It was hard.
Music on it.
Yeah, it was hard to hard to know. I think the best case scenario for this Michigan State team is that 95 team, right? That team beat Michigan. That team had it in them in moments. They had the offense to beat you on a given day, and the defense rose up here and there. That's what you have to absolutely hope. We will be back on Thursday, and we will get into leftover takes. We'll do some Groovy Donut Twitter questions. We'll may have a guest. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out Thursday as Thursday gets closer. But we do appreciate you producing our show, even when Tom Izzo shortens, truncates the timing of it. We appreciate our friends at Xfinity. Again, Xfinity.com. Type in your address. You'll see the deals right there for you. You can see what sort of channel offerings you want, what sort of package you can have, bundling with home internet, which is the best way to make it the most affordable. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company. Great place for trivia on Tuesday nights, for just a group outing, for a date night, whatever it might be. And, of course, Muskox Flannels. If you look like me, get yourself a Muskox flannel. You'll look a lot better. If you look like the MSU defense, get yourself a Muskox flannel. You'll look and perform better. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Room.